So you used to be a landlord.
I was a landlord.
Did you raise rent prices like every year? What should someone do if they can't afford rent?
That's a tough one, Andrew.
What do you pay for rent?
$0 per month being an unhoused individual.
Money does solve a lot of problems, but
No doubt. Hello, I'm Andrew Hales. Today we're talking to people about rent. Rent's gone up 30% in the last few years since the pandemic. While rent keeps rising, homelessness has gone up 12% in the last year. Is this just a natural part of the market, or is something broken that needs fixing? We also got some new merch, shoploft.com. I got my own dogs here, the Boston Terriers. Use code RENT for 20% off. Also, one of the guests in this video mentions how money solves like 90% of our problems. So get money, get paid. Hey, this is also available. Please watch a movie with that like button and ask questions and talk during the whole movie. Do you feel like landlords should be allowed to raise the rent as much as they want? Or should government intervene at all?
No, I do think that there should be some form of government intervention to like set it, especially with, we're not increasing wages yearly to the cost of inflation. So why should landlords be able to charge whatever they want for rent?
What should someone do if they can't afford rent and they're totally ingrained in their city where they are?
That's a tough one, Andrew, because we're kind of forced to make ends meet no matter where we are. If that means somebody's picking up 2 jobs and sacrificing that free time that they once had, that's what they have to do to be able to afford groceries and afford rent. And I think that that's the struggle.
Do you think you'll ever be a landlord yourself?
No, I do not think I would ever
Really?
be. No, obviously the goal is to own a home one day.
Yeah.
And the housing market in Nashville is very chaotic right now.
Right.
Anywhere you go, you're not going to find a decently priced house. And I may not ever be able to own a home here, but I at least enjoy the city for what it's worth now. And someday I may move out of the city so that I can afford a home. But no, I don't see myself being a landlord.
What should someone do if they can't afford rent?
Probably move to a different city. I don't know. That's so hard. That's a complicated question.
No doubt.
Because it is hard. The economy's been pretty bad, so I don't really know.
Do you feel like government should intervene or put a cap on landlords raising their rent?
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm 50-50 about it because I kind of understand with the way Nashville's population has been growing, so I get it.
Do you feel like you'll ever be a landlord?
No.
How come?
It's too complicated.
What do you do now?
I'm an esthetician.
Okay, yeah, like eyelashes and stuff.
Waxing, facials.
What are your thoughts on landlords raising the rent as much as they want?
probably shouldn't. Probably should be regulated somewhat.
Okay, so you do feel like government should intervene a little bit?
I haven't thought about this much. Maybe, I don't know, it depends.
Yeah. You feel like you'll ever be a landlord yourself?
No, I would definitely charge way too low. So maybe the government should get on my stuff a little bit. Be like, hey,
You mean charge way too high?
No, I would charge way too low. I'd be too nice. I'd be like the guy in Spider-Man.
What should people do if they can't afford rent?
Maybe I wouldn't be too nice. My first thought was make more money. But that's not good.
It's a complicated subject, for sure.
Honestly, money does solve a lot of problems, but
No doubt.
I would, of course, try to work with them. But landlords, they just have a stigma being kind of Spider-Man, landlordy.
Spider-Man.
You've seen the first one when he asks for rent all the time?
Oh.
Maybe that's that's the third one. Yeah, Tobey
There's
Maguire.
like 10 of them. Yeah. How many?
Yeah.
Which one are you talking about?
It's the OG.
Okay. The
Yeah,
2000,
yeah,
2001.
Pizza Time. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you feel like landlords should be able to raise their rent as much as they want?
I don't think they should be able to raise their rent however much they want. I think they should be able to, stay within guidelines or, a certain criteria.
Okay, so you feel like the government should regulate it a little bit?
I feel like they should regulate it. If it's within the market trends and everything, I think they should be able to, raise it.
What should someone do if they can't afford rent?
That's a tough question.
No doubt.
I feel like if they can't afford rent, then, they're stuck.
Yeah.
That's a tough question. I don't know if I have an answer for it.
Do you feel like you'll ever be a landlord?
I've looked into it. I've wanted to be a landlord just because of the question, being able to raise rent or just make money off your asset.
Yeah, passive income.
Passive income.
Yeah.
But I would be a good landlord, I think. I wouldn't Yeah.
Do you feel like landlords should be allowed to raise the rent prices as much as they want?
Not as much as they want,
Okay.
for sure.
So you believe it should be regulated a little bit?
Yeah.
What should someone do if they can't afford rent?
I don't really have too much to say on it. I'm blessed enough to be able to do what I do. I know there are a few different, I believe there are a few different foundations or a few different resources that can be reached out to.
You feel like you'll ever be a landlord?
No, definitely not.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I don't see it as something that someone should do necessarily, mainly because that kind of, in my eyes, is what brought us to the crisis that is now occurring, essentially. The fact that people are buying up places just to charge other people to pay for their own mortgage, essentially. If I wanted to have my own place, that's enough for me. I see no need for it.
Awesome. So you used to be a landlord.
I was a landlord.
Did you raise rent prices like every year?
Not every year. As your insurance goes up, as your taxes go up, as your wages for your employees go up, your maintenance people, you got to keep up with all of that stuff. So depending on those factors and some others is how I determine to raise rent.
How do you determine how much profit you can make or not, or what, you know? Do you feel like government should intervene or like put a cap on how much landlords can raise rent?
I don't, because there's too many variables across the nation, even just in one state.
Okay.
There's too many different variables for that. I think the market in general takes care of whether or not somebody raises the rent. You know, I was someone who bought duplexes and triplexes and quads. I started out with, 2 nickels to rub together. When I bought properties, they just had to break even. I mean, a lot of times it was just break even.
Wow.
And then what happens is generally the market, goes up in terms of the cost of properties. Then you pull out your equity and buy another property. That's what I was doing. But I don't feel like I don't think that there's a need to raise rent every single year. I don't.
What should someone do if they can't afford rent?
It's an extremely complicated question. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I am glad of where I am in my life in terms of when I was born and when I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I fear more for the next generation with AI and the competing of jobs, of just being able to have a job that can pay a living wage. I think those days are just slipping beyond our grasp. And the fact that even the latest budget bill, if you look at that and what the top 10 is going to get versus the bottom 10, why I was going to swear.
Well, I mean, it's not live. I can edit out anything.
I mean, why would we make it harder for the bottom percentile, the 10 percentile, even quarter percentile, to live in America? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
So, to get back to what should we do, I have no clue. I just don't think that. Sorry for my dogs.
Yeah, it's all right.
I don't think government should get involved with capping what landlords can raise for rent.
You don't think that'll, so you're all about let the market direct it.
I am.
With the homelessness rising, should we give? Do you agree with free housing and giving people free housing?
I think the government has a place in terms of providing subsidized housing, whether that be free or subsidized. I'm okay with that. I have no issues with that whatsoever. That is the role of a government as opposed to dictating how the private market will work. Those are two different things to me. I have no issues at all with Nashville allocating parts of the city for, I'm going to say, housing essentially for the homeless.
Right. Small
home, whether it be tiny homes. You've seen there's projects where, I think it was down in Texas, where they built a bunch of tiny homes for homeless people, and they gave them ownership. I wouldn't say ownership in terms of they own it, but this was their place. And they gave some people, jobs within that community. It's a successful thing to do. There's been studies out in California. What do you do if you give somebody, let's say $500 a month or $1,000 a month?
Yeah.
There's some benefits to that.
Okay.
So that's a government side of it. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I think that should be done. I think that should be explored.
Cool. Yeah, that's about it. I appreciate it. What do you pay for rent?
I currently am owing $0 per month being an unhoused individual.
Okay. How long have you been that way?
Since 5 months into COVID, so I guess that's June of 2020.
How did you end up that way?
I ran out of money, and the government crashed down on me.
What
They just kind of screwed me over.
you couldn't afford rent?
No, I was in a situation where I got thrown out unjustly. I didn't do anything wrong. The government just kind of crashed down on me. Like, things flipped. Joe Biden came into office, and, Donald Trump's moratorium on evictions, that got thrown out the window, and I got thrown into the streets. So I was living out of hotels for like 5 months until I ran out of money. But hoping the government would get off my ass, but it has not, so I'm still homeless.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm hoping that script flips soon. We'll see.
What's the plan? What steps are you trying to take? Are you trying to get work or?
Nope, I've given up on that. They've stood in the way of my careers and throughout this ordeal over the last 5 years. And so I'm just kind of like taking a page out of Julian Assange's situation. I'm just sitting and, when I get a coffee or a donut, I eat it and I drink it and I smoke my cigarettes and my weed. It's like a prison,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a prison outdoors with me being my own boss. But if I can't make a movie, if I can't record a song, I'm just kind of America's screwed over next generation Elvis.
They stood in the way of your job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get blacklisted.
Like what happened?
And the government can just step in and tells people in the industry, don't let them work, and you don't.
What was your profession?
I'm an actor, a painter, a fine artist. So that's my situation. The rental situation in America sucks. It's designed to suck, and they're making it suck worse on purpose. It's a new world order.
Thank you for watching the video. I think rent's complicated. It's probably above my pay grade, but yeah, I think there should be a cap. I think there's a lot of truth in just letting the market do its thing, correcting itself, supply and demand, just keep it. But I don't know, housing's a hot commodity. It would be great if they didn't raise the rent every year. What do you guys think? All I do know is get money, get paid.